What's up, you guys? James Strickland here. Welcome to week 6 on my road to 700 pounds. This week is a pretty good week. I've got 500 on the bar, and this is kind of the time in my training cycle when it starts to get heavy, starts to really determine where we are at and kind of when the meet might possibly be scheduled. I know a lot of you guys have reached out via different forms of communication and asked, when the next meet will be, and it's still a little bit vague, but I'm thinking about no earlier than the latest of December, and I think it will more than likely be January, February, possibly even March. But we will see. Basically, I start setting that up around when I'm hitting the 600 for reps mark. Today I've got 500 for 6, and there's 2 sets of this. What I typically do, other than my normal 45 warm-ups, basically just adding a plate, I got up to, 405 was my last warm-up, and on this particular day I felt pretty good and went straight to 500 for the 6 reps, and it worked out very well. As you saw on week 5, I actually worked up to 500 and then backed it back down for the 480 reps, and that worked out well that week. So I urge you guys to find a warm-up strategy that works for you. Pretty much keep it the same, but it definitely needs to fluctuate workout by workout to what would work best for you. My warm-up is not going to work for somebody else necessarily. Especially if you're in a different temperature, a different stress level. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes behind and into figuring out what the warm-up strategy is. Some people can do less reps, some people need to do a little bit more. That was just a side view of that first set. I'm taking about 10 minutes rest between sets right now. This week recap is brought to you by my sponsor, or one of my sponsors, Skull Smash Ammonia. Sometimes you guys will be seeing me sniffing a little bit of like a jar of something before a big lift, and that is basically ammonia. It is safe to use in moderation. I wouldn't use it every day necessarily. I wouldn't sit there and snort it and do any kind of crazy stuff with it too much, because you can abuse it and you can abuse anything. But it does wake your senses up. It's basically the same stuff that they use if you faint. You smell it, it wakes you up. It will definitely knock you on your butt if you breathe too much of it. So you just want to get a little whiff, just enough to kind of amp you up, and lay down and do your lift. I've been able to do a lift without it, and I've been able to do great lifts with it. Like with anything, just take case-by-case basis. You might be the type of person that doesn't need to be amped up for a lift, or at least be fired up too much, because it can piss you off if you get a little bit too much of it in your sinuses. But I love the stuff. Steve over there is a great guy. He's a veteran as well, so I'm going to support him. And if you order it, go to skull-smash.com and use my 10% off code, strict-bench-10. I'll also put that down in the description. It's cheap. I mean, it's good stuff. It lasts you probably a month and a half before it starts getting a little weaker. I get a lot of questions about that. Like I said, you don't have to use the stuff, just like you don't have to use wrist wraps. You don't have to use elbow sleeves or lifting shoes or any of that stuff. They're just tools to help you get the job done. If you can do it without and you can be safe, then go do it. A lot of it is personal preference. But check out Steve. He's a good guy. You can check him out on Instagram at Skull Smash Ammonia. So this is a side view of the second set of 6. Definitely got into a groove on the second set. I did have a little bit of a temptation to do more than 6 reps, but sticking with the plan. I don't want to overextend myself. I am actually going to be doing an exhibition style lift using next week's bench press set over at a buddy of mine, Jeff Yonkers, grand opening at his nutrition store. So look out for that one. That'll be a little bit different setting for next week's recap. So moving on, I've got 440 for 2 sets of 6. I only filmed one of these. Got a couple guys to help spot me out, because the last thing I want to do is not have a way to be safe with these. This is decline. These actually feel really, really good on the press. I'm still getting used to the stabilization of it. Just trying to get used to that, but we'll be well above 500 before the season's out on these. In fact, next week we got about 455, so we're jumping up 10, 15 pounds a week. Moving on to weighted dips. We've got 160 pounds, same as last week, 2 sets of 8. These feel really good. I am getting a little lightheaded on the first couple of reps, but that's normal. It's just there's a lot of tightness that goes into these reps, and you want to stay tight. You want to keep the shoulders safe. You don't want to go down too far, and you definitely don't want your wrist twisting around or your fingers slipping at all, because you can seriously hurt yourself. But these help grow those triceps tremendously. They definitely work the pecs. And if you have bad shoulders, I probably would say to stay away from these. At least until you can get to the point where your shoulders can handle it. There's a lot of other exercises you can do to hit your triceps. So weighted dips is my go-to, but that's only with healthy shoulders. You can do overhead tricep, you can do monastery extensions, tricep rope, push downs, close grip push-ups, close grip bench. I mean, there's just a lot. Tricep extensions, tricep triceps. I mean, there's a whole load of different tricep exercises, which are definitely key to growing a good bench press. It's definitely going to help with your lockout if you have issues with that. If you have trouble on your lower side of your bench, coming off your chest, definitely work on your back, because that's where your explosion starts. So you want to do your lats, your rows. Shoulders is also a good stabilizer there, especially in the press itself. Work on your pecs. Do flies, either cable or dumbbell, wide grip push-ups, wide grip bench. It's a side view. This is the second set of 8 with the dips. And a lot of you ask what kind of setup I have here. That's just a Rogue loading pin. You can go on their website, rogue.com, just look for loading pin, and it's like 20 bucks, and it'll hold about 300 pounds worth of plates in that fashion. It's a lot easier to hook up to, and instead of having them fan out if you're holding them vertically. And that's just a Harbinger belt I bought at Walmart. And I did replace the chain on it, so it has a little bit more durable chain. I just bought at a hardware store. Okay, so I've got some Crucifix lat pull downs, 110 pounds in each hand, a little bit more reps than last week. We got 15 reps, and there's 4 sets. I'm just showing the first couple sets, just front and back, so you guys can see kind of what I'm doing. The angle here is really tough to get down too much further as far as the range of motion. If you could touch your elbows down further, then go for it. But it does put you in kind of an odd predicament, kind of odd setup there. You can kind of see that here from the back. But these are just another variant of lat pull downs. Obviously, you're isolating each side. So if you have any kind of imbalance or weakness, this can definitely fix that, at least on your lats. Moving on, got the overhead rope extensions. This 150 pounds set called for 12 sets of 6. This was a little bit light, so I went ahead and cranked out 30 reps, 18 reps, 18 reps, and 6 reps. I put it at about RPE 8. I think I'm going to probably end up having to do this whole stack. I like this variant. It changes it up a little bit. Obviously, like I mentioned, a lot of the different tricep exercises earlier. Hitting the tricep from different angles, different exercises changes it up, keeps you from getting bored, which I think a lot of you guys have expressed through various posts and comments. Exercises to kind of get past a plateau. Honestly, a plateau can be physically, it can be mental, it can be a little bit of both. But changing up your scenery, changing up what you're doing in the gym, you may hit the same muscle, just hit it from a different angle. It changes your outlook on a lot of things. Obviously, physically, it changes how you're touching that muscle and working it out. It changes the response a little bit. Also changes your leverages slightly, which can hit tendons and joints slightly different. But at the end of the day, just looking at a different scenery when you're doing your exercise because you're on a different machine can change just a lot of different things. You don't get bored with it. All right, so I've got flat flies. This is a 1 second contraction, kind of holding it out. And this is 60 pounds, 3 sets of 15. And I actually lowered it from, I did this first set on video is 60s. I lowered it down to 40s for the next 2 sets. I was getting a little bit too much front delt activation, and the pec was pulling just a little bit too much for me to be comfortable with. So I went ahead and I actually did a couple more reps on the second 2 sets with 40s. Nothing wrong with that, just kind of changing it up on the fly, still hitting the muscle good. I just felt a little bit safer not pushing or putting too much pressure on those pecs. Stretching them too much, rather. But I have just launched my newest program. I do offer custom programming as well, but I'm talking about my templated programs, which you can find on my website. A lot of you guys have known that I have offered bench programs for about a year or so now. Had a lot of good success with you guys, giving me good feedback on adding considerable amount of weight to your bench. But I do offer a full program, 3 lift, squat, bench, and deadlift. Check those out, benchonly.com/training. I'd love to help you guys out, in that fashion, or if you need customized coaching, every now and then I'll have some spots open up. I'd be more than happy to talk to you. That includes email, feedback, video review, things like that. All right, so this is day 2, showing you guys, starting to show you guys the day 2s of the week, which is all my upper body stuff for the week. This one is the cable lateral raises. I got 15 reps, 3 sets with 60 pounds here. These are quite tough. I am obviously, last week I had mentioned that I was kind of swaying a little bit, using my body kind of subconsciously to help get the weight up. I really focused on keeping those hips still and keeping that core tight so that I could use 100% shoulder there. And these really light that shoulder up, but it definitely builds some bulk, some strength, some size in there, which will definitely help keep everything safe and strong for this bench press of 700. So got a little bit of light bench in here. These are the 110-pound dumbbells, 15 reps, 2 sets. Really working on just firing off, getting explosion, just getting some blood flow in, honestly. It's not heavy enough to really activate anything crazy. I do still get a little warm up in there just to make sure that my pecs are good to go. But the 110s are really quite easy. So I've got some straight arm, fully extended dumbbell pullovers, getting a really good stretch in here. This is 45-pound dumbbell, 3 sets of 15. These are more of a, like I said last week, these are a maintenance, this is a maintenance exercise. There's a little bit of strength built here, but honestly it's more for just stretching out those triceps and those pecs. It really just opens your rib cage up. It really is just a weighted assisted stretch. But overall, feel great. I really am excited about the next few months and putting everything together. My biggest thing is just keeping some weight on. I tend to fluctuate weight a little bit between 285 and 290. I can eat quite a bit. My metabolism is quite high. I don't eat real clean, but I don't eat a lot of junk food either. I eat a lot of restaurant food quite a bit, but my focus is really on just getting some calories in, on these hard workout days. But I will, I'll get up to about 290, 292 during the week, and then over the weekend I may even slide down a little bit on the lower days to 288 or 285. But as long as I'm kind of in that groove, I'm fine. I think I'll be about 290-ish at the meet. So these are the Kaz presses. I gave you a little bit of different angle so I can show you that I'm not getting too far down into the chest. Done on a Smith machine to keep that that level, that groove there. This is 235 pounds, a set of 12, a set of 12, and a set of 20. So 3 sets here. Really working on getting those triceps to start burning. This is just another tricep extension exercise, or basically tricep exercise. And we have moved up this week on these rows. This is the hammer strength row. I've got 455 pounds for the first 2 sets, a set of 10, a set of 8, and then I went up to 500 for the 3rd set, and that is a set of 15. These feel very, very easy. I'm always just a little bit worried about hitting my knees there with those handles, so I'm trying to get a nice brace, but back-wise, this feels really, really good. I think I've maxed out what is allowed on this machine. I was reading the little labels, and it says you can have about 225 pounds on each pin. I think I've pretty much got to that point. So I don't know, we may have to do some bands on the next week to kind of get a little more on this, but this is going to end it up for the week. I really do appreciate you guys tuning in and following my journey. I think we're well over 6,000 subscribers, which is very humbling, but definitely like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at SwimHack, and I will see you guys next week. We'll have a little treat with the 510 for 6 reps. See ya.